about another set of questions you had this morning. Senator Leahy asked you about the Foreign Emoluments Clause, which is in Article 1, Section 9, Paragraph 8. He asked you whether it was best characterized as an anti-corruption clause. You might remember that in terms of foreign influence and foreign interference. And then he referenced the president and various allegations about foreign influence. Since he asked you about it, since he asked about foreign influence in government, I think it's only fair that I ask whether, hypothetically speaking, just hypothetically, if there were, let's say, a vice president of the United States who hypothetically had an adult son, who hypothetically worked for a foreign oligarch, who then sold access to his father, the vice president, and his father then intervened in a case to make sure that that oligarch wasn't prosecuted, hypothetically, would that constitute the kind of foreign corruption that the Constitution's concerned about?
I can't answer hypotheticals.
Well, I thought you might say that, and I'm glad you don't and won't, because who knows, that case may come before you. But I think it's a fair set of questions to ask.
Daily News headline, breaking news, Joe Biden's campaign denies he met Hunter's Ukrainian business partner, despite emails showing him thanking VP's son for opportunity to meet, as pictures surface of him with a crack pipe. That's the headline, Daily Mail. Emails raised new claims about Hunter Biden's dealing with Ukrainian firm. He apparently introduced Joe Biden to an executive at gas company Burisma. Biden would later pressure Ukraine to fire prosecutor investigating the firm. Prosecutor was fired amid concerns which were shared by other countries. Files were disclosed by Donald Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. And now the Senate Homeland Security Committee says it has been contacted by a whistleblower and is looking into the matter. Here is the smoking gun email from Vladimir Posarsky, an advisor to the board of Burisma. This is to Hunter Biden. Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to D.C. and giving me an opportunity to meet your father and spend some time together. It's really an honor and pleasure. As we spoke yesterday, would be great to meet today for a quick coffee. What do you think? I could come to your office somewhere around noon or so before on my way to the airport. End of quote. And now, apparently, Facebook is censoring the story about Biden. New York Post is saying that the platform Facebook is censoring the story because they claim they are concerned about its facts. So Daily Mail reports the story. New York Post reports the story. There is a publication of the email in which this business associate is thanking Hunter for inviting him to D.C. and giving him a chance to meet his dad and spend some time together. Meanwhile, of course, Joe Biden has consistently denied that he ever met his son's business partner, never even talked to him. And what about the mainstream media? Are they interested in this story? According to a statement put out by Team Trump, quote, the Biden campaign does not dispute the authenticity of the emails published by the New York Post, which serves to confirm that they are real, end of quote. We don't know whether or not the Biden camp has said anything because, as far as I know, the same network that Nancy Pelosi was angry at, to my knowledge, hasn't reported a reaction from the Biden camp to the bombshell story by the New York Post. According to Business Insider, headline, Facebook and Twitter are choking the spread of a controversial New York Post story by Hunter Biden after questions arise about its veracity and a possible disinformation campaign. That's the headline. By the way, for whatever reason, I am pretty active on Instagram, and I've been averaging about 2,000 new followers every single day for weeks. The last several days, the number of new followers has been stuck at the very same number at 4 or 5 days in a row, day after day after day. How do you go from averaging about 2,000 new followers every day to none over 4 days? How does that happen? A Facebook spokesperson named Andy Stone admitted Facebook, quote, is reducing the reducing the distribution, close quote, of the New York Post article while its platforms are fact-checking it. So they are admitting it. And the New York Post article refers to emails and files taken from a laptop that may have previously belonged to Hunter Biden. So the Facebook and Twitter are both saying, well, we're going to check the authenticity of this story before we allow you to even spread it. Now, speaking of Joe Biden, the Israelis prefer Trump over Biden by a margin of 63% to 18%. That's a massive, massive gap. 63% to 18%. New poll published in the New York Post. Israelis were asked about the connection of personal ties between Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu. 50.9% of respondents said the election of Biden will harm future relationships between the two countries because Trump has a special relationship with the state of Israel. A whopping 87.8% of Israelis say they are following the U.S. elections. Now, getting back to the hearings, they have nothing, and Josh Hawley, the Senate from Missouri, says, therefore, they're going to try to bork her. That became a noun after what happened to Judge Robert Bork.
I was 7 years old when Judge Robert Bork came before this body. I don't remember any of that. I wasn't watching it as a 7-year-old. But what we saw, I think the legacy of the Bork hearings continue to reverberate. His name has become a verb, the borking of nominees. I think what we've seen today is an attempted bork